Okay, so we are looking at now inventory management. This is the cardinal topic in production and operation management, which is POM. So inventory management, inventory means stock. So we look at the advantages and disadvantages of keeping stock. So there are three models that are involved in inventory management. We're talking about managing stock, such as the bananas, potatoes, or any other stock that the firm should be selling. So we're going to look at the three models that are involved in this inventory management, and we're going to look at two models for this class. Okay, so here we are talking about the aspect where we say we look at the cardinal point in inventory, where we simply say inventory means stock. So we have the advantage of keeping stock. So keep stock so that the firm does not incur ordering cost. You also keep stock so that you are avoiding acquisition cost or unit price. And then keeping stock so that we avoid the stock out cost. So this is the first advantage of keeping stock. Then the second advantage of keeping stock is that keep stock in order to maintain customers' goodwill. Goodwill is just created between the firm and the customers. So this is just about two advantages of keeping stock. Then we can get down to the disadvantages of keeping stock. So here, the disadvantage of keeping stock is that the firm will incur carrying cost. That is the cost of paying for warehousing salaries and wages. And then, of course, paying for the floor space charge related to warehousing activities. Then, of course, we have the insurance of stock. This is another disadvantage of keeping stock, because you're supposed to insure the stock. The stock in the warehouse should be insured in case of fire or in case of safety. So inventory can be maybe damaged or maybe spoiled. So this is another disadvantage of keeping stock. All right. So we have looked at the advantages of keeping stock, and then of course we've looked at the disadvantages of keeping stock. Okay. So now we can look at the inventory models. So for this class, we are going to look at two models. That is the model 1 and model 2, because this is one of the longest topics in the production and operation management. Okay, so this is about what we have. So model 1 is called the purchasing model. Then the model 2 is called the production model. Then model 3 is called the discount model. So these are the three models that are involved as we look at inventory management. Okay, so we can now look at the model 1, which is the purchasing model. So this is the model for the first one. This is a model where the firm is buying units of the commodity from the suppliers. So here we consider the following. The first one is economic order quantity, meaning how many units of the commodity the firm should order at a time. So how many units the firm should order at a time is what we call economic order quantity. So we have D is our annual demand. Then EOQ is economic order quantity. S is ordering cost per order. Then C is carrying cost per unit per year. So these are the components or the breakdown of these ones. So carrying cost is always the percentage of acquisition cost. That is the carrying cost. It's always the percentage of acquisition cost. So that is our carrying cost. Then we have also the annual demand, and then S is the ordering cost per order. S is the ordering cost per order. C is the carrying cost per unit per year. D is our annual demand. So this is about what we have for this kind of model 1. So now we look at this is the first formula for economic order quantity. Now we're getting down to the second formula, which is number of orders per year. So number of orders per year is equal to D, which is annual demand, divided by EOQ. Number of orders per year is equal to D, which is annual demand. Then we divide by EOQ. EOQ is economic order quantity. How many times a number of orders per year is annual demand divided by Q. So these formulas are provided. Then we look at the other formula, which is called the cycle time. So this is the time taken between orders as we are buying from your suppliers. So cycle time is the time taken between orders, and our cycle time is equal to Q over D multiplied by the days of the year. That's the formula. Q over D multiplied by the days of the year. Then we have our D is annual demand, Q is a EOQ. Then we also look at the reorder point. That's the formula number 4. This is the point at which the firm should order units of the commodity again. So this is the point at which the firm should order units of the commodity again. That is what we call the reorder point. So our order point is equal to expected demand during the lead time, then plus the safety stock. So we have that one, which is the expected demand during lead time, then plus the safety stock. That is what we call as our reorder point. So expected demand during lead time plus the safety stock. This is about getting to our reorder point. ROP is a reorder point. It is expected demand during lead time, then plus the safety stock. Now, lead time is the time taken between when an order is placed and when an order is actually received. This is what we call our lead time. Time taken between when an order is placed and when an order is actually received. This is it, how we get to the reorder point. Now, our expected demand during the lead time is equal to daily demand multiplied by the lead time. So expected demand during lead time is equal to daily demand multiplied by the lead time. Okay, so our daily demand is equal to annual demand divided by the days of the year. Daily demand is equal to annual demand divided by the days of the year. Now, here we are looking at the safety stock. The safety stock is the same one as the buffer stock. The stock kept for security reasons to cushion on demand. So safety stock is a buffer stock kept for security reasons to cushion on demand. And our safety stock is equal to Z value multiplied by the standard deviation of demand multiplied by the square root of lead time. Safety stock is equal to Z value multiplied by standard deviation of demand multiplied by the square root of lead time. Of course, we know lead time is the time taken between when an order is placed and when an order is actually received. Now, reorder point can also be computed where the safety stock is not given. So a reorder point will actually be equal to the expected demand during the lead time. All right, so we get into the total stocking cost. The total stocking cost, when you're doing the stock taking, we're actually looking at the number of units of the commodity that has been ordered, that the firm has bought from the suppliers. Okay, and then of course, how many units of the commodity that the firm carried from yesterday to this period, to this day. So that is how we're looking at the total stocking cost. So total stocking cost of taking, we'll look at the annual ordering cost and the annual carrying cost. or annual holding cost. So it's a cost made up of two costs. That is annual carrying cost and annual ordering cost. So this is about the total stocking cost. All right, so the formula for total stocking cost is annual carrying cost, which is this one here, is annual carrying cost. Then we have the annual ordering cost, annual carrying cost and annual ordering cost. These are the two costs that are found in the total stocking cost, annual carrying and annual ordering cost. All right, so where Q is EOQ, which is economic order quantity, and our S is ordering cost per order, then D is our annual demand. So this is about, we are looking at the total stocking cost. Then we have the total material cost. The total material cost is made up of three costs: the annual carrying cost, the annual ordering cost, and the unit price multiplied by annual demand. So we have annual carrying cost, annual ordering cost, and the unit price multiplied by annual demand. So the total material cost is made up of annual carrying cost, annual ordering cost, and acquisition cost multiplied by annual demand. This is how you get to the total material cost, three costs that are involved in this total material cost. So we can now get down to an example. So from here, we just need to understand the advantage of stock keeping, or keeping stock, like you're keeping tomatoes, you're keeping, or you're selling potatoes. What are the formulas that are involved? We look at the stock taking. We look at the how many units of a commodity can you order at a time from the suppliers, which is equal to economic order quantity. Then you look at the number of orders per year. Also look at the cycle time taken between orders. Formulas are given. So it's just a matter of identifying the annual demand. Identifying the annual demand in the given exam question. Okay, so this is about what goes on. All right, so we are now getting down to, so you don't have to wait for all goods to finish as you are selling for you to order again. So that's why we should have the order point. The order point is just the point at which the firm should order units of the commodity again. You don't have to wait for the minimum at home to finish for you to order another bag, or you may go starving. So you should have an order point where you know, should minimum fall to this level, we should order again. So that's the order point where we look at expected demand during lead time plus the safety stock, just a recap on formulas. And then getting down to the total stocking cost. When you're doing stock taking, you have to look at the annual carrying cost and annual ordering cost as you are looking at the stock taking. So this is about total stocking cost, and then looking at how many units we carried on and how many units have ordered in the day. Then the material cost, we look at the annual carrying cost, how many units that you carried, or holding cost, annual carrying cost, the same as holding cost. Then you also look at the other component, we have look at the annual ordering cost, then plus the acquisition cost per unit multiplied by annual demand. So this is just about what goes on as we look at the total material cost. So we can get down to the example. Example 1, ABC company has annual demand of 25,000 units. So that's an annual demand. The ordering cost per order of 200 kwacha, that's the ordering cost per order. And then that the acquisition cost per unit is at 30 kwacha, that's the acquisition cost per unit. The carrying cost is at 20% of acquisition cost. So carrying cost is at 20% of acquisition cost. Then the company operates 250 days of the year, meaning that other days they are not working, and lead time is 2 days. So this is about what this question is all about. So we can know that here we are looking at model 1. I'll show you the distinctions between model 1, model 2, and model 3. Model 2 has to do with production. But here the production is mute, means that the company they are just busy buying from the suppliers. So ABC company has annual demand of 25,000 units. The ordering cost per order of 200, and the acquisition cost per unit is at 30 kwacha. The carrying cost is at 20% of acquisition cost. The company operates 250 days of the year. Lead time is 2 days. Required, calculate the EOQ, which is economic order quantity, and then also getting down to the cycle time, and also getting down to the number of orders in a year or in the year, then the order point, then getting down to the total stocking cost and the total material cost. So let's identify what has been given. 25,000 units is annual demand. 200 kwacha is the ordering cost per order, which is the S, and the acquisition cost per unit is at 30 kwacha. The company, okay, so the current cost is at 20% of acquisition cost, and operates 250 days in a year. So we can now sort out D is 25,000 units. The ordering cost per order is 200. The acquisition cost per unit is 30 kwacha, which is the unit price. And then the current cost, like I mentioned, current cost or holding cost is always the percentage of unit price. Current cost or holding cost is always a percentage of unit price. The days of the year, 250. So current cost in this case is 6 kwacha. So we can now substitute and get whatever it is that we can get now. Getting down to the economic order quantity, model 1, or EOQ is 2DAs over C. So we can see our EOQ. Okay, so EOQ is economic order quantity. So we can have EOQ as equal to the square root of 2DS over C. So you can just see that our EOQ, we have the D is 25,000. So you can multiply 2 multiplied by 25,000. So this is 25,000. Then multiply by our S in the question. But of course, this should be in a square root form. Our S, we know that our S is the ordering cost, which is it in this question. It is just 200. And then current cost is a percentage of unit price, which is a percentage of unit price, which is 30 kwacha is a unit price. So percentage of unit price is the current cost. 20% of that is the current cost. So we can say our 200 here, then here we divide by 0.2, you multiply by 30. So meaning that our EOQ is actually going to be equal to, on top there, we can dismantle that. We can 2 multiplied by 25,000 multiplied by 200, which is 10 million. So we have the 10 million on top there. Then from there, we divide by 6. And then we can find the value of our economic order quantity. So meaning that we have equal to 1,000, 1290.99. So 1290.99. Okay, so this is about what we have as in looking at this. The first formula is what is very, very important. The first one, it was in inventory management. When you get the first answer wrong, it means like you have missed it. You have missed everything, because the other formula is the EOQ. This is a Q. So we are simply saying this is our Q, and then this Q applies almost everywhere. It's a quantity, that's a EOQ. So this quantity is the same as EOQ. So when this is wrong, it will affect almost every other question coming through. Okay, so this is about what is going on here. So we have gotten that one. So we have, this is the first one on economic order quantity. So should they want us to ask us to do number 2, which is the cycle time. So cycle time is actually going to be equal to Q over what? Is equal to Q over D multiplied by the days of the year. Q over D multiplied by days of the year. Okay, so days of the year. So from here you can see now that our Q is what we have found, which is 1,290.99. The point here, 99. Then we divide by our annual demand is 25,000. Then from here, you can multiply by the days of the year, which is the 250. So from here, you can find the cycle time. So 1,290.99 divided by 25,000 times 250, which is giving us 12.9 days, 12.9099 days. So from here, you can approximate to say it is 3 days. Okay, that one we have found. So it's 3 days, 13 days, that is. Then we can find number of orders in a year. So number of orders in a year, which is N, is equal to annual demand, which is D over Q. So how many times can you order a batch? How many times can you order for you to meet the annual demand? So it's just actually 25,000 units. So the formulas are very important, but you need to go for divide by 1,290. Okay, 0.99. So here we can get 25,000 divided by 1,290.99. Okay, so 0.99. This is about 19.4 times. So for us to meet the annual demand, we have to order from our suppliers 19.4 times, approximately 20 times that we need to order from the suppliers if you are to meet the annual demand, if you are to meet the demand for the year. Then you can get into our total stocking cost, our TSC. When we're doing stock taking, we're actually going to look at a number of things. First of all, there are 2 things that are involved here. We have to look at annual carrying. So annual carrying cost. So annual carrying. And then we also look at the other aspect, which is annual ordering. So you look at this is what is involved as we look at this kind of question. Okay, so annual ordering. So we are going to have 2 things, annual ordering and annual carrying. So our total stocking cost is actually going to give us our annual carrying is Q over 2, then by C, then plus C, D over Q, then by S. So this is about what goes on here. So our total stocking cost, according to the question, we have to just substitute here and get whatever we have. So it's 1,290, then The one we found to point 0.99 over 2. Then by our C is 6, which is the carrying cost or holding cost. This is the C or H. Okay, so plus the annual demand is 25,000. Then you divide by Q, which is 1,290.99. Then by S, our S is 200. So we can find the total stocking cost, where we are looking at now the 190.99 divided by 2 times 6 is 72.97. Then plus 25,000 divided by 129.99 times 200. It's almost the same. Okay, so this is 3,872.9. Okay, so the answers are almost the same. So it will be 77.45.9. So this is about the total stocking cost. So total material cost, it has to do with the aspect where we look at the annual carrying, which is this one over 2 to build up, then by C plus D over Q by S, then plus AC times D. So this is about the total material cost. So total material cost is actually going to give us our Q is 1,290.99 by 2. Then on our C is 6 plus 25,000. Then we divide by 1,290.99 by 200. Then plus the other one where we simply say unit price is 30 multiplied by 25,000. So this is it. The total material cost. This is the same as unit price. So unit price is AC, acquiring cost per unit. The same as unit price. Then from here we can find our total material cost. As we can do the breakdown, is just 7745, then 0.9, then plus the other one is 30 multiplied by 25,000, which is 750,000 this side. So you can just see that the important thing to understand here is how to find the economic order quantity. If that is wrong, then you find that you get almost everything wrong. When the first aspect, the first economic order quantity is wrong, then you get almost everything wrong. So that just be mindful and just observe that all those ones are in order. So this marks the end of inventory management model number 1. So we need to now switch to model number 2, where we are now looking at the firm. They no longer want to continue buying. They want to produce their own goods now. They want to produce their own things. So we get to model 2 now. So model 2, okay, there's a number of formulas altogether that will come through for this model. So example 2 for production model. So it's to understand that the formula, whatever has been given the question will determine which formulas or which model is it? Is it model 1 purchasing model, or is it model 2 production model? Okay, so now getting down to model number 2. Model 2 production model, the first formula to use is economic lot size, which is equal to 2ds over c and multiplied by p over p minus d. The square root is this one. So p is a daily production. P is daily production. So we have this one as daily production. Then the other one is on daily demand. So if the days are given, then you can find the daily demand, okay, and the daily production. So this is daily demand. This is about what goes on as we look at this one. Then number 2, we have to look at the number of production runs. N is equal to D over Q. So this is the only number of production runs. Then cycle time. So cycle time is equal to Q over D multiplied by the days of the year. So Q over D multiplied by the days of the year, by days of the year. So this is about what we have. Then we have length of production run, time taken to produce a batch, length of production run, number 4. So length of production run, length of production. Okay, so you have the length of production run. So it's actually going to be, it is just Q over P. So this is length of production run. Number 5, we have maximum inventory level, maximum inventory. So it's actually equal to P minus D, then multiplied by Q over P. So this is on maximum inventory level. That's the formula. All these formulas are provided. Then we have the other one here, where we look at the total stocking cost for this model, where we simply say it is Q over 2, then P minus D over P, then by C, plus D over Q by S. This S is called setup cost per setup, because we are setting up for production, not ordering. Setup cost per setup. Then the last one is total material cost, which is actually going to give us, it's the same Q over 2 on P minus D over P by C plus D over Q on S, then plus AC times D, AC times D. So these are the four. This marks the end of inventory management model number 2. All right, so we can get down to the example now. So we have this is the first formula here for production. This is on the model 2. So these are the formulas to use. Okay, production model. So model 2. Right, so this is what goes on here. So we can now get down to the example. So we just have to know which formulas to use. SXYZ company produces units of the commodity, and that the annual demand is 50,000 units and annual production is 75,000 units. So it's already, this is a production model because there's annual production and annual demand. The company operates 250 days of the year. The setup cost is at 350 kwacha. The unit cost or acquisition cost per unit is at 5 kwacha. And the carrying cost is 10% of acquisition cost. I mean the following: economic lot size, number of production runs, length of production run, cycle time, maximum inventory level, the total stocking cost, and total material cost. So here, the formulas that are here, the ones that I've given, these are the ones to use. Getting down from there, you just need to know that this is a day production P, the day is demand, and then S is setup cost. So this is setup cost. So this is about what goes on. So this is our setup cost. So we can now get down to the solution. So meaning from here, we can find our annual demand is 50,000 units and the setup cost is 350 kwacha. The annual production is 25,000. So we can find they operate 250 days in a year. So we can sort out this issue. Okay, so here we can simply say our P is equal to annual 75,000, then you divide by 250 days. This is how you get to the daily production. Daily demand is actually going to be also 50,000. Then we divide this one by 250. So this is about how we can get these ones. And our P here, we can get, so 50,000 divided by 250 is 200 units. So our D, our small d, is 250 units. So we can find the other one, 75,000 divided by 250, which is 300. So this is a 300. So this is about how we find the daily production and daily demand. Our annual demand is 50,000. Okay. So if you want us now to find our economic load size, the first one, economic load size simply means the production size is actually equal to 2ds over C. Okay, so here we can substitute and say 2 multiplied by 50,000 and multiplied by the setup cost is 350. Then our carrying cost can be found because here they're saying carrying cost is at 10% of unit price. So it's 0.1 times 35 kwacha. So 0.1 multiplied by 35. So we can find our economic lot size. which can be calculated. So it's 2 times 50,000 times 350 divided by 3.5. So it's about that. So it's about getting down to the answers here. So we have that. In fact, there's one aspect where we need to look at. We need to incorporate the other one. So here we need to incorporate, since we're in production, like I mentioned, so we incorporate P over P minus D. Okay, so we need to multiply by P over P minus D. So these ones, we substitute where the P is 300. That is where the P is. So even here we put the 300. Then minus a 250 here. So you can get to our economic load size. So meaning from here, our economic load size, we can calculate by incorporating here. We found our economic load size is 5,127.22. So if this is correct, means that you get all these questions coming down correct. Like number of production runs will be equal to, here is a breakdown of daily demand. It's what annual demand divided by days of the year to get those as daily production, annual production divided by the days of the year. Carrying cost is always a percentage of unit price. So economic load size as Q. So this is our Q. Economic load size is our Q. So number of production runs is D over Q, 50,000 divided by that, which is this one, 9.128 runs. And then getting down to the other one, which is on the length of production run. Okay, the number of production runs, we've got that in that one. Length of production run, time taken to produce a batch. The time taken to produce a batch is Q over P. To produce this batch on top here, okay, the length is, we divide the batch, which is the one we found there as economic load size, then divide by the daily production. So it's 18.25 days. It's different from cycle time. Cycle time is the time taken between production runs. So it's Q over D multiplied by days of the year. These formulas are given. So the Q is the catch here. When you get the Q wrong, the other things also will not be correct. So this is about what goes on. And then find the cycle time, it's 27.38 days. Then we get into maximum inventory level, which is equal to P minus D. The P and D, these ones are calculated already, multiplied by the batch, which is Q over P. So we are getting the P minus D is the same as inventory build up. Q over P is the period of delivery. So here we can even find maximum inventory level is 1,825.74 units. That's maximum inventory level. Then inventory build up is just the difference between the two, which is 100 units. The period of delivery is Q over P, which is the same as length of production run. Then total stocking cost is made up of these two costs, the annual carrying cost, which is this whole thing, and annual ordering cost, where we just substitute whatever you have found to get, C is the carrying cost. So you find that we are getting the total stocking cost as 6,390.103. Then getting down to the total material cost is just the build up total stocking cost plus the unit price multiplied by annual demand. So unit price was acquisition cost per unit is 35 kwacha multiplied by annual demand 50,000. Of course, even in this formulas were given these ones, so it's just a matter of going through, because the economic load size formula is given, just have to apply. Whenever there's production, you go for economic load size, which is model 2. Then you go for maximum inventory level, the formula is there. You just substitute the total material cost, total stocking cost. These are the formulas: annual carrying, annual ordering, and the unit price multiplied by annual demand to find the total material cost. So here we have the total material cost came to 1,753,390.103. So these are the two models that I've explained so far. It's just a matter of having time to go through, unless there are any questions so far. Okay, so if there are no questions, we can end here for now. In the other session, we are going to now talk about model 3, which is a discount model. All right, so this is about what these two models involve. So these two models, they involve, the first one is a purchasing model where you are ordering from the suppliers. Then model 2 is a production model where we are producing your own things now. You no longer want to continue buying from suppliers. You want to produce your own things now. So this is about model 2. So we can end here for now.
Hi,
Yes, yes, please.
So when is the next class?
Okay, the next class, Mr. Njobo should advise. I need to look at your schedules, your timetables, because he's the one setting up the schedule for the timetable. So yes, please. So what is going to happen is, I will raise with Mr. Njobo. You should set up a timetable so that at least everyone else is not left out, so that we can have as many classes as possible, so that you don't panic at the end of the day. We need to finish this poem is not as cumbersome as maybe quantitative method, because it has only 6 topics. So the either we can finish them, then we can have more time that we need to start going through a number of question papers, number of questions that we need to do.
I agree.
So Mr. Njovu advise. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.